In today's video, we are talking about wiring the trolling motor to your kayak. We're going to talk about the battery, we're going to talk about the trolling motor, and of course, the PWM box. Stay tuned, this is going to be a good one.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
So all the parts you see here did come from Amazon. I was able to find everything on there for a decent price. So starting off, I have this box here. This box comes with a box, a couple screws, and then it comes with a lid with a little gasket that goes around the top, as you can see. That helps keep it sealed. All right, guys, the box is a perfect size to buy the PWM controller here. There's a couple on Amazon that you can choose from. I liked this one because it has a built-in fan on the inside just to help to keep everything cool and run, especially when you're out there in the heat. So these quick connects come in a pair. They come with the other end also, so they have the male and the female end. So here's the female end, and the other end comes with the male end already installed. So when those came, I just cut those ends off, saved them to wire to the end of the motor and the end of the battery. So from here, I took the wires down and of course took my positive and negatives to the motor and battery. The only thing I don't like about this is how they put the battery positive and negatives on the outside and the motors on the inside. So it made wiring a little bit more difficult and crammed up in here. All of these little connectors here you can buy on Amazon also, link in the description below. So when you're wiring all this, it's nice because the switch cables, they can disconnect and you can get everything wired up in here, and then you can connect them back in. So as you can see, those wires go up into the top of the box here, and then you're able to install. Makes it really easy for you to install. You just unscrew it, tighten it back on, and it is all nice and tight in there. This one, however, the little switch, you have to make just the right size so it is nice and tight. That was the hardest part, making sure that the hole I cut was very snug enough to get that in there without compromising anything. But yep, those come up here and they turn to the switches. So everything was pretty easy to install. It was a little time consuming trying to do all the nitty-gritty work, especially for cutting the holes here at the top. But other than that, went pretty well. All right, guys, let's get the lid back on this and I'll show you how it hooks onto the kayak. All right, guys, here's everything installed on the kayak. I use the same concept as I did for the motor mount by using a rail, some of those same screws that came with the other package from the other video, and then took a couple pieces of aluminum from Home Depot, bent it just right so it came up and everything was level at the top. As you can see, there is a gap from the top of the bottom of the PWM box to the top of the kayak. I wanted that to be there just because this cable that you see running here is part of the steering system. We'll talk about in the next video, so I didn't want anything to be running in the way of that. And you can see here are quick connects here, all installed, ready to go. This goes to the battery, this goes to the motor. All right, guys, and then I just took these aluminum pieces, riveted it to the side of the box, and then of course everything is a little dirty right now, but everything is installed, made it very modular to quickly take on and off and transport easily. So let me show you this. All right, got my seat. All right, guys, there it is, the PWM box right next to the seat, all installed right there. Very nice, super solid, not going anywhere, and it's not going to get any water, but it is nice because that is waterproof all through there. So makes it easy for the steering system. But as you can see, that comes down. Perfect angle to come up by the seat. You can adapt this how you will for your kayak, but there are different boxes, there are different PWM controllers that you can get that may fit your style a little bit more, but this one works perfectly for what we're trying to do here. All right, next we're gonna take a look at the motor and how we wired that up. All right guys, here is our trolling motor. Now up at the top here, we took the head off the trolling motor. That was easy, it's just a couple screws, that thing pops off. There's some awesome videos, guys, to how to take off the trolling motor head without destroying anything. Link in the description below for those videos. I did not cut the shaft, okay? I wanted to be able to put the head back on the trolling motor if I wanted to, whether it's for resale or just popping it on a different boat or system, but this is, because other videos talk about taking the shaft, right, adjusting it to where you want the height, and then you're cutting it. So I did no cutting. All right, guys, I took the head off, then the wires are hanging out here. You only need 2 of the wires that are in there. So just, of course, the positive and the negative, you don't need the other ones because you're gonna be having a different steering system. The wiring that came with the trolling motor was plenty enough to run the wiring for the whole kayak. So I didn't have to buy any extra. There was plenty of wire to help run from the back of the kayak up into the battery and so forth. So no extra wiring was actually needed. Everything came with the trolling motor. To make this nice and clean, of course, we took the wiring. I took 2 PVC, these are 3/4 inch. Now, I had to kind of heat this top up and melt it a little bit to fit around the top here because it is a lot. These aren't the same size, they're not 3/4. So this one had to get a little bigger, but 1 inch was just way too big, and I didn't want to have to mess with it too much. So I melted that up, stuck that on, that got nice and tight, let it cool, and then I put some electrical tape around it. And then this top is all sprayed with some of that same rubber sealant stuff. Of course, I put the trolling motor on, ran the wiring down the kayak as far as I needed up into the PWM box. And from there, after I got my measurement, I took the other end. So I got my the other end of the quick I took the other end of these quick connects. So here's the male end, the top pops off. And then I took that, came up here, spliced them together. Now to do that, this is the final product, but to do that, of course, I took these little butt splicers, and of course one end goes in each one, and then you crimp it down right up into the middle here to help join those wires together. Now to make this nice and easy, these tools I found on Amazon, they actually come in a pair. And so this is the one that actually helped cut the wire. So this cut and strips it at the same time, which is really nice. So it was pretty awesome. So this made it really easy, especially for the big wiring sizes that you're gonna use for the trolling motor versus like a small little, you know, other pair of wire cutters. So this is awesome. You can adjust it to what size you need and what's gonna work best. And you can adjust here to, of course, you know, how much you want that to be spliced there. So that was awesome. So I cut, spliced, had those there. Then, of course, this tool was used to crimp down the middle here. So, of course, you can see it is labeled on the ends. You got 10 to 12 gauge, 14, 16, 22 to 16. So it's already preset for you. So all you have to do is put it in the middle, squeeze, and it gets it right where it needs to be. All right, so link in the description for those below. They were actually pretty cheap, and they made this job so much easier. So saved a lot of hassle, a lot of cussing. All right, and as you can see now, we have everything spliced, but I added the waterproof sealant on the top. So here I bought this little pack of heat shrink tubing kit. Now it has a bunch of different sizes, so it comes with a lot here. Once again, found on Amazon. As you can see, all the sizes that we use are gone because this came with enough to do 2 kayaks. So me and my buddy did our kayaks together, and we were able to use everything, get everything done for all the wire. The last thing I did here from the trolling motor Of course, I took some of this nice wiring cover that you can get. It's already pre-cut. You can find this at Home Depot. That's where I found mine. Different colors if you have different preferences. And this is what I put the wiring up in, just to, weatherproof it, keep all the elements off. Once I put that on, everything was done and it is ready to be set on and turned on. All right, guys, this is the battery I chose. This is the EcoWorthy. Of course, it's a lithium iron phosphate battery. So this one is the 12.8 volts, plenty enough for this trolling motor, and it is the 50 amp hour. There are different amp hours that you can get. It just depends on how much money you want to pay and of course how much battery life you want. So this one is awesome. 10 years lifespan, high energy density, lightweight. That's the biggest thing that I love about this battery. It is lightweight. It is awesome. So on top of this battery, we wanted to make sure we keep this weatherproof and wanted to keep everything protected. So we got this nice battery box. So let me put the battery in. That's what it's hooked to right now. So inside the battery box, you guys, we have the positive and negative that hook up into the top. And let me put this battery back in the box and I'll show you what it looks like on the top. All right, everybody, this is the Newport Smart Battery Box, also found on Amazon, link in the description below. I like this one, very easy to install. You can see positive and negatives go up in there. There is plenty of room in here, especially with this battery. That lid just pops right on, and then this just buckles together to help keep it nice and tight. Nice and buckled now. As you can see, keeps this lid on nice and tight. You can carry this thing wherever you want it to go. Now, cool thing about this is this guy has a built-in breaker system. So you got the trolling motor breaker here, and you got the boat accessory breaker here. So cool thing about this, so you have the trolling motor. So here's your positive, here's your negative. You have a nice USB attachment here if you want to throw anything into that. On the other side, you have another attachment to power anything else you want. So this is just like a cigarette lighter. And at the top here, of course, you have a battery voltage test, so I can hold this. And of course, I got 3/4 or more power here. So, and I was on the water for about 2-3 hours running this thing, and that is how much battery I still have left. So, which is great. So more to come on that. I'll show you out in the water. So here we have the positive and negative all hooked up. And of course I ran the wiring down, spliced it to the other male adapter here. Hello, dog. And then put some of this tubing on. This is also. So let's put everything onto the kayak and I'll show you how that all fits. All right, everybody, here is all the electronics loaded up. I even got my kayak crate on here. Poles aren't in it, of course, but got that all loaded up just to show you what the full thing would look like. So seat here, battery box goes in the back. As you can see, the wiring runs down, got plenty of slack there, runs up, connects into the PWM box. And then down here, we have the trolling motor, and the wiring runs down, comes on up, snakes up, and of course up to the PWM box. Now I know there's a bunch of other designs that you can do. A lot of people have the quick connects built into the kayak right here, so they can just plug it in and then they run the wiring in the kayak. I didn't necessarily want to do that just yet. I wanted to get things going. That may be an upgrade that I make in the future, to have the quick connect there, and then of course run the wiring up in the kayak and then have it pop out somewhere underneath here up into the PWM box. So maybe in the future we'll be looking at something like that, but for the time being, wanted to make everything nice and easy, nice and simple. Let's see how it works. Down here's our motor. Let's get it turned on. So everything's plugged in, nice, ready to go. All right, so I'm gonna flip the switch to forward, and then I'm gonna turn So I'm gonna turn this on. And as you can see, our trolling motor is going right here. And this is only probably a quarter of the speed I have it on right now. So it can be definitely turned up to adjust the speed there. So pretty sweet, pretty awesome. So right now this thing is cranking full speed right now. Can't really tell with the camera, but the thing is humping. Click, neutral, and everything is off and good to go. So transport, I can quickly just disconnect these if needed, and we're good to go. Battery is strapped in with some of these bungees here, nice and solid, so if we rock and everything, we are solid. This thing ain't going anywhere. And one more little thing for all the electronics here. Now here's the GoPro mount, and it comes down and sticks right there, so everything is nice and close. Battery pack's in there. Future video to come on how far and what I can run on this battery alone in terms of the trolling motor and possibly the GoPro. So stay tuned for that. I also have the fish finder I can hook on here. The battery for that, I have plenty of room. I could fit it inside of here, but still working on that. I haven't taken the fish finder out with this yet. So, all right, everybody, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and share this video. Stay tuned for the next video, part 3, where we're talking all about the steering system in the kayak. All right, we'll see you then.